we've sold thousands of lots to people willing to exchange on the day and complete within 28 days. Property auctions made quick, easy and simple. Clive Emson Land and Property Auctioneers.
Oh, I do like to be beside the seaside and to be beside the sea. I do like to be beside the seaside. And Paul Bridgman is. Yes, everybody, welcome to the Clive Emson July auction results show. Something a little bit different. We've never done this before. So we thought what we would do is give you a bit of an update on what happened in July. We didn't do our usual number of shows, but we thought we'd come back for this one just to see how things got on. And of course, we've got the man, the myth, the auction legend. It is, of course, Paul Bridgman by the sea as well. Paul, can you hear us? Are you okay there? Hello, Paul. Hello, Paul. Oh, we've lost Paul Bridgman. He can't quite hear us, unfortunately. Can you hear us, Paul? No worries. I'm going to bring our other special guest in instead. Chris, you're here. I'm delighted to be joined by Chris Milne. Unfortunately, Paul Bridgman can't quite hear us, so we'll catch up with him very shortly. But Chris, July auction, we weren't there, unfortunately. We didn't do our normal set of shows, but we wanted to take a quick look back at how things went. So tell us from your experience, how did the July auction go?
Yeah, I think it went a lot better than we'd kind of expected, to be honest. I mean, the last few auctions we've had, it's clear the market is toughening up quite a lot. And actually, you know, this auction went quite well. We still had a lot of properties that sold really well, had good numbers of bids. Quite interestingly, we've sold a lot of properties after the auction as well. I think where maybe people are a little bit more unsure about what's going on and a bit more cautious about where they want to put their money. We've been having a lot of people come back onto the ones that haven't sold. And actually, I've got one that's selling as we speak whilst I'm on here. Really? That's going to be selling for more than what someone could have bought it for in the auction. So it's funny how things are at the moment.
So how does that actually work then? Like you've got the lots to go to auction. If they don't sell under the hammer, do you have a period of time where you still hold on to them and can still do something with them?
Yeah, so we market for the 4 weeks following on from the auction. And we can take offers. It would be exactly the same process as though it were in the auction. So it doesn't go to a private treaty method where, you know, the process can take weeks and months before we actually exchange. If someone's making an offer, it needs to be on the basis that they are actually able to exchange contracts as they would do in the auction. Yeah. And so is the case with the one that I've got happening at the moment. We've had 3 people all make exactly the same offer. And so the only fair thing to do is, well, to set up an auction again and let them all bid against each other, which is kind of what they're doing. So.
Interesting indeed. I quite like the sound of that. Let's just see if we can bring Paul back in again. Paul, can you hear us now? Are you there? Hello, Paul Bridgman. He's not there, is he? I think he's disappeared, hasn't he? Well, not to worry, Chris. We've got you with us anyway. And in this show, we are going to have a quick look. Now, I'll tell you, one of the reasons why we might not be able to hear from Paul is because he's in Great Yarmouth. Okay, this is where he is right now, Chris. Okay, look at that. I didn't even know they almost had the Hollywood signs there for that. And he's been visiting this place. Now, this is for the September auction. My understanding, am I right in thinking bidding goes live on the 20th of September for the September auction?
So the auction ends on the 20th of September.
It ends. Yeah.
And the bidding opens on the 18th of September.
18th of September. Let's just have a quick look. This is where Paul is at the minute, which is why we might not. I don't know if Paul can hear us. Paul,
are you there? Yes, I'm back.
Oh, he's back. He's back. He had to go out and come back in. This is where Paul's been today. No surprise then. He didn't come straight on because he's currently visiting a pub in Great Yarmouth. Paul, great to have you in. And thank you, Chris, for saving the day a little bit there as well.
Not sure what happened there, but yes, I lost you. But no, I'm in Great Yarmouth, looking at a beautiful pub that's coming to the next auction in September. I mean, if you don't believe me, there you go. There's the seaside.
No wonder he's having such. Well, Chris, you may as well stay with us then. You may as well stay with us for all of this. As I said, the point of this is to take a look at. We've got 7 or 8 of the lots that we're going to take a quick look at, see how they got on at the auction. We've got the overall results as well, which Paul was going to talk through with us too. There've been some fantastic lots. So let's have a quick look, shall we, at the overall results here for the July auction. Paul, can you see that, or do you want me to read it out?
Yeah, no, I've got it. Also good. Yeah, so no, I say the July auction. I say yes. There's a lot of bad press about the property market, and everyone's saying that the market's getting worse and it's tougher and it's this and it's that. But ultimately, there's still a lot of buyers out there. There's still good property to sell. We had 154 lots in the end, sold 65% of it. Yes, which it might be slightly down, and being slightly controversial as I like to be occasionally. That's a true 65%. That's not withdrawing half your lots because you've got no interest in them. That's if there's no interest, they've not sold. So that is a true reflection of the auction. 65% of the lots sold, but we still raised £21.7 million from those 154 lots for our clients. So yeah, as I say, the market is still in relatively good shape. It's not a bad market by any stretch of the imagination.
And as we know as well, Paul, from just talking to Chris there, he's actually got another one of those lots going to sale now. Looks like he's about to get that one over the line too. So this is actually just from the online auction, isn't it? But you guys managed to sell post-auction too.
That's it. Yeah, I mean, as I say, on the day of the auction, the results wasn't quite as you see it there. So we've added to that as the over the last week or so since the auction. So we'll continue doing so all the way through August. So that's not a final figure by any stretch of the imagination. I reckon we'll be up towards 23 million before the end of August.
And you've had bids from
just
53.
to give you some ideas. I mean, the figures on screen there. I mean, it just goes to show the global appeal now of the auctions.
Yeah.
40,000 views to the website over the 3 days of the auction. Towards the end of July, and there were over 2,000 unique bidders. That's absolutely fantastic. And I say that again, that's come from 53 different countries around the world. So it just goes to show, yes, we all love being in the auction room, but the pull of an online auction now, it is global. And yes, I know some of those bidders are people on holiday and expats. And the top 5 countries where we had bids from were obviously the UK, the US, France, Spain, and Germany. So yes, like I say, some of that might be people on holiday, but that's people who are living abroad, foreign investors, all sorts of things. But 53 different countries around the world. That's phenomenal, and over 21,000 visits to the website on the final day. So that's it just blows your mind. You didn't get 21,000 people in the auction room, did we? So,
exactly.
It just goes to show it's phenomenal.
Where was the most obscure country, Paul, that you got a bid from? Do you know? Do you have a full list?
I don't. I've got to be honest this time. I don't. But yeah, we've had them from from Uzbekistan, from from all over the place. The Far East. I'm sure there's probably not many countries around the world we haven't had bids from now.
Right, fantastic results, and as you said, they're continuing to sell. As we said, Chris, you've got one currently about to complete as well. Let's take a quick look at some of the lots then. Now, Paul, I think you've chosen these particular ones. Chris, you've got one in here as well, so you're going to give us a bit more information on that. Let's come to the first one here, shall we? Lot number 7, Richard Manor. Paul, take us through the stats with this one.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, this one, Richmond Manor in Torquay. Firstly, Audrey apologises. She'd love to have been with us to talk about it because it was one of her lots. And
I do miss Audrey.
She hopes you're missing her.
I do miss Audrey.
Yeah, there you go.
She still owes me a glass of red wine as well.
But yeah, this one, it's been in the same family for generations. It's been subdivided into, I think, 7 or 8 studio flats, but it was ideally a family home. And there were three families, all who wanted it and really pushed it on. I mean, they had a guide price of 550 to 600. In the end, sold for 679,000 there on screen, you can see. And in that 59 bids later from where it started at 550.
That's incredible, isn't it? £79,000 over.
But to put it back to a family home, and I think that will be absolutely stunning when that's finished. I mean, it looks beautiful in the photographs there with the blue skies.
We always say, don't we, that we must go back and do a bit of a visit to these lots, and we've been doing this about a year now.
That'd be a lovely one to go back to, absolutely.
So we should actually revisit the first time
we'll do it one
this.
day.
Yeah, we'll do, yeah. I want to go to that pub you're at the minute. Actually, I want to go visit that one again, maybe next year.
Well, I'll tell you what. If we sell it, I'll take you.
Deal. I'd like to be beside the sea. Right, let's move into our next one.
No, don't break into song.
I did at the start of the show, but you couldn't hear me. You have to watch it back.
Really good.
Lot number 9 then, 282 West Street, Fareham in Hampshire. Chris, I don't mean to be rude. I'm just going to take you out a sec, just so the viewers can see what it looks like, if that's okay. Two seconds. I will bring you back in. I'm not being rude. There we go. So that's what it looks like. Paul, take us through the stats for this one.
Yeah, that's right. It's a car showroom in a town centre location. So it's commercial investments. They had good rent coming in. Guide price at 430,000. In the end, sold
Wow.
for £544,000. 67 bids later. So again, really good competition. And that's what I say. You can't say it's a bad market when there's competition like that. Pushing prices well above their original guides.
That's insane, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
I suppose a commercial investment. You see a lot of them empty these days, don't you? But it just goes to show that the right property in the right location can make a big difference. And £114,000 over the guide price at least is quite something, huh?
That's right. And, as I say, these things, if there's a good covenant and it's a respected business and, they're not planning on going anywhere, which obviously, they've got a good covenant in terms of the lease and that sort of thing, then, as I say, they're not going to be going anywhere. So it is a good investment for people. It all depends on the rent coming in and the business credibility. But, where it stacks up, people will pay good money for these commercial investments because, as I say, they are a more long-term sort of tenancy than just a standard assured short hold tenancy sometimes.
Yeah, certainly does look very good. By the way, anybody watching this at any point and does want to go visit the Clive Emson website, you can. There is a link in the body of this broadcast. It'll take you straight through. There's a QR code just at the top left of the screen as well. And there is the auction, as we said, coming up in September. So if you do want to register an interest for that, go visit www.cliveemson.co.uk. It's also running across the bottom of your screen. Let's bring Chris back in as well. As you can see, I've managed to push us to the side. Sorry about that, Chris. That's very rude of me to knock you out there. It was only so we could see the image, but I've managed to do it, so we're all on the side now, so we can see it. And I believe this slide number 4, which is lot 31, plot 3, Udimore Road. Have I said that right in East Sussex?
Udimore, yes, Udimore Road.
Udimore, yeah. Udimore. Must I say Udimore?
Udimore, yes. Yeah.
I'll leave it to you. Give us the information about this one, Chris.
Well, it was an interesting one because actually we had this in our May auction with a guide price at 5,000 to 6,000, and it didn't sell in that auction. So then we had it back into July's auction with a nil reserve, and ended up selling it for, as you can see, 11,460. So more than we had it in May's auction for. Which kind of goes to show, I think, sometimes it's better to take the risk on the reserve price if you can, because, you could very well end up with getting a lot more than you would have done if you pitched it at the kind of level you thought you might actually get for it. It was a popular one. What you do with it, I'm not too sure. But we got plenty of bids and 232 bids on it as well. So it was a good one.
I think it's a record.
I don't know, is it,
Chris? I think so. Certainly for this auction, it was the top one.
Hey.
So no,
the
fantastic.
problem was we were going up in £50 increments on it, weren't we? So it did go on a bit.
Well, I suppose that with a nil reserve.
It only finished yesterday, then. Does it? I mean, Chris, for those people who are fairly watching this and fairly new to auctions, nil reserve does literally mean that, doesn't it? You could get it for £1, or does it have to go up in £50? So you could get it for £50, for example. That is possible, isn't
you
it?
could get it for £1. I think we had, Paul, I think you might have had a couple of lots that sold for something like that.
No, it was Mike had them down in the Hampshire office. He had some parcels of land and roadways and that sort of thing that had nil reserve, and a couple of those sold for £1. Yeah.
See, that's incredible, isn't it? Like, you generally could get a parcel of land for £1. I mean, it's makes me quite tempted to have a go, but then when it bumps up to 11,460, that's not. But I imagine a very, very happy customer there.
Definitely.
Indeed. Chris, stay with us if you've got time, if that's all right. We'll move on to the next one. Shall we have a little look at it? Lot number 44, a fine-looking property. This one, 115 Grosvenor Road in Dagenham, of all places as well. An area I know quite well, and an area I think quite well too, Paul.
Yeah, that's right. It's not sort of deep into Dagenham. It's more Romford than Dagenham. It's just past the Moby Dick pub.
What is it with you and pubs today?
Crazy golf. Yeah, I know. It's got it on the brain. Sorry. But yeah, no, it's a really nice mid-terrace house, good sized rooms. It was a little dated inside, don't get me wrong. Needed, but it had gas central heating. It had all double glazed windows. So the fabric of the building was absolutely perfect. It just needed decoration according to taste, really. And the client that we were selling for have got a portfolio of these properties, and when they become vacant, they tend to have done the same thing, actually make them livable in terms of putting in the central heating and the double glazing. But other than that, they've allowed the tenants to, and usually long-term tenants, to have lived how they want to live. And when they come to the market, they always tend to sell really well.
How many bedrooms did you say it was, Paul?
So it's a 3-bedroom house.
Three-bedroom.
Nice little garden at the rear. Say guide price at 320 and sold for 363.
Even at 363, though, where it's located, Romford, just inside the M25, isn't it, Romford? I believe. Yep.
Yeah.
For 363, a 3-bedroom mid-terrace house is I know it needs a bit of work, but anything under sort of 5 is pretty good, isn't it? I would have thought.
That's right. Yeah, say you sort of go a little bit further along into the A12 into Ilford, and yes, you're right. That'd be a 5. £500,000 house.
Deals to be had at auction, then, is what we're saying. Should we move on to our next property and find out what Paul has selected? Slide number 6 is lot number 46, and I'm always a fan of a bit of land near where your office is, actually, Paul. Chelmsford.
Yeah, not too far away. So in Rettendon Common, just outside Chelmsford. So it was just over an acre of land. It was a rectangular parcel of land. In a nice sort of village location, sort of infill plot between houses, and had a guide price of £100,000. We thought if we topped out just over that, the client would be happy, we'd be happy. But actually, as I say, with a few minutes to go, it was just at 100,000, and we thought, okay, that's it, and all of a sudden it just took off, and 39 bids later. We're at 161,000, so absolutely fantastic.
Is that a common thing, guys, when you go to the auction? Because I know sort of lot 1 goes on the Monday. Let's say it's a three-day bidding process, isn't it? And it goes live. Do you often find, even though that it adds on an extra 5 minutes, so nobody can do the eBay trick of bidding with 5 seconds to go, do you find people still wait until as close to the last minute as possible?
Yes. Yeah, they do.
Yeah, I think I was going to say, what do you think, Chris? But I was going to say, it's human nature. I think people just want to leave it to the last minute because they don't want to show their hand. Sometimes you get a nice early bidding, and then it tends to go a little bit quieter, and then it'll come back towards the end. But as I say, the majority of bidding tends to happen in the last half an hour, I would say. And yes, you're right. If someone bids in the last 5 minutes, the timer extends, and it will keep doing so. So doesn't just do it once; it keeps doing it. And I hate to think how many times it refreshed on your one, Chris, with 100 or 230 odd bids.
£50 each. I mean, wow! You must just be thinking there, Chris. I could go home in a minute, and then boop, another 5 minutes.
My dinner was burning.
You never got it. Right, fantastic. Well, we've got a couple more to show as well, so let's keep going, shall we? Our next interesting lot is lot number 73, Mill Service Station. This is cool. Deal in Kent.
Yeah, that's right, Mill Service Station in Deal. So it's a former service station and car sales yard. We had another one of these fairly recently in Belvedere in Kent, which got really good interest. And so this one sold at the guide price at 500,000, but a really interesting looking lot, because you tend to find these garages, yes, they're great sort of car sale sites, and we've actually had inquiries from people looking to actually reopen them as service stations as well, which is quite intriguing. But they make great development opportunities as well, subject to all the necessary consents, of course, because you're usually quite a good sized parcel of land. Obviously, they've got the tanks underground and the contamination issues that might need to be resolved. But, again, you clear that out, and then, yes, they can make really good development opportunities.
And, of course, going at 500,000, it's a good deal for all parties.
Absolutely, yes.
See what I did there? Okay. Right, let's move on.
No, I missed it completely. I've got it now, but I missed it.
Right, moving quickly on. Let's have a look at our last interesting lot that we've got here. Lot 133, The Link in Dunstable, Bedfordshire, Paul.
Sorry, I just got distracted by the tumbleweed blowing down the beach.
Yeah. It made it that far, did it?
Yeah, that's right. Won the Lincoln Houghton Regis Dunstable, lot 133. A nice little end terrace house, actually. Again, nice big bedrooms, 3-bedroom property, gardens to front, side, and rear. There may be the opportunity to extend on the side, off-street parking at the side as well through gates and a garage. Had a guide price at 150. Not too many people troubled themselves to go and look at it in person. You know, we only had 5 or 6 viewers in person, but a really healthy number of people watching the videos on YouTube, and we'll give some stats about that in a minute. But I say, yeah, really got good interest, good traction, good number of people downloaded the legal pack, and really competitive bidding. And as you say, ended up selling for £229,000. So really good interest, and the client was absolutely delighted because we thought that would top out at around about 200,000.
So not bad, actually. Even 29,000.
It just goes to show when there's competition, people will still pay really good money.
It does just go to show, even in a what is largely viewed as a tricky market at the minute, perhaps auction might be an alternative route for people. And in fact, if anything, I would have thought maybe you might be getting a bit busier with the way that the house price market is going through, rather than going through the traditional estate agent route, Chris. Maybe people are going to come to the auction route a bit more.
Yeah, I think so. And what I've heard a lot of people say recently is they're worried about being gazumped on the open market, where you've got a longer process and there's more time for people to come in and review their offer as you get closer and closer to exchange, and pulling out and things like that. Whereas when you've got an auction, it's set, that's it, you've got a contract there on the day, and there's no fear of a buyer then turning around and saying, well, actually, you know what, the Bank of England have increased the base rate, I'm now going to take £5,000, £10,000 off my offer right at the last minute. So it gives that security of knowing that you have got a contract there on the day of the auction, and there's not that risk of someone just backing out because they think they can.
So am I right in thinking, and I know we've covered this off before, Paul, but I think it's important because we get new viewers tuning in all the time, or people who haven't experienced auction before. Once the gavel falls, or the virtual gavel falls, that's exchange.
That's right. Under English law, the drop of the gavel is exchange of contracts. So it's not the signing of the contract, it's not the paying of the deposit. It is actually the drop of the gavel that forms a contract under English law. And that's it. People do like that certainty. Yes, I know. What we're doing is we're appealing to buyers to come and buy a property within 3 weeks' time. From the date the catalogue goes live to when that hammer falls. So it's a relatively short marketing period. So buyers have got to have their funds available. But as I say, if sellers are keen to sell and have a need to sell, auction can be a really good method of sale. It doesn't always get the best price. It's right, but sometimes it does. I mean, look at that property we've got on screen at the moment. On the open market in absolute A1 condition, that's probably £250,000. In its current condition, we thought around about 200,000. But because the client was brave with the guide price, it generated interest, it generated activity, and once you generate that activity, the momentum and competitive bidding on the day pushed it right through to a really good price achieved.
Fantastic stuff. Now, you mentioned as well people watching the videos. We've got another slide to show you here of the Clive Emson YouTube channel. Do visit it as well. We're live on it right now, but all of the videos for the properties go up there, don't they, per auction. So there's so much content, and it looked like it performed pretty well again as usual, Paul.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, the auction we just had in July, in the last 28 days leading up to the auction, just get attacked by seagulls. we had over 39,000. Get off me, chair. There was over 39,000 views of the videos we had uploaded, and I think since we started doing the videos during the COVID pandemic, really was when we started doing it in all seriousness. We've had over 1.2 million views of the videos that we've had. So yeah, it just goes to show times have changed in terms of how people view and buy property nowadays. So the videos, our shows that we do, are a great way of informing people about what the process is and how to look at the properties. Because don't get me wrong, the videos we show aren't necessarily making them look like show houses. They are showing the property as it is. If there's a crack in it, we'll show the crack in the wall. And all these things that need to be done in an open, honest, transparent and fair way, because that's what auction should be.
In a roughly 3-week buying period, you don't really have time, do you, to not show everything and be brutally honest. And that's what I do like about it. Certainly when we've done these shows as well, there is no trying to pretend there isn't an issue. If there is an issue, you've got to be open, you've got to be honest, and you guys certainly are.
Absolutely, yeah. The consumer protection regulations, I mean, I'm sorry I'm getting boring and technical, but the consumer protection regulations are there to protect the consumer. And, that's our job too. We act for the seller, but we have a duty of care to the buyer. So does the solicitor, so does the seller, in fact. So they have to be open, they have to be honest, and they have to be transparent. And, I hate seeing, people think that auctions are a way of hiding things, because they shouldn't be. It should be the most open and transparent way of buying a property. And, I get on my soapbox quite often about this one. So, yeah.
Yeah, he certainly does, but in a good way. We don't mind that, Paul. That's fine. There is another auction, of course, coming up in September as well. Paul, we've seen one of the lots that you're going to be putting up for it, that nice pub there in Great Yarmouth. Chris, can you give us any little snippets of information about what you might have coming to auction in September?
Yeah, I mean, we've got quite a lot of bits and pieces coming in for housing associations. We get a lot of instructions from the housing associations, particularly around Kent. So I've got a few bits and pieces that have confirmed around sort of Maidstone, that kind of area, which are good. They're usually quite good lots that we get from them. Again, more land. I've got over near Robertsbridge, which is near Battle over in Sussex. I've got an equestrian facility that's coming in over there. And yeah, there's some good stuff happening. To be honest, most of our lots come in right at the last minute. So you generally don't know what's actually going to happen. People are always, really last minute when they give us instructions. But yeah, there should be some good stuff. And actually, September's quite a good auction because we've got a longer lead on period. We don't have an auction through August because everyone's on holiday. So we tend to find that we've got a lot more in the catalogue, and the stuff in there's pretty good.
Excellent.
Yeah, I'll echo that, because every year the September auction seems to be one of the biggest. So, keep tuned to our YouTube channel for lots coming up, and I'm sure we'll be sort of talking through a few more as we get closer. But as Chris rightly said, we've still got a little bit of time before the closing date for the next auction. So the auction's on the 20th of September. If you've got a property that you've seen this video and you're thinking, well, maybe mine might be good for auction, give us a call. Drop us an email. We'll come and have a look at the property. We'll give you our opinion, and we'll give you honest advice as to whether it could be something that's good for auction. And no property is the wrong sort of property for auction. It mostly tends to be dictated by a client who's got a need to sell, and it's their circumstance that tends to drive a property going to auction. And it can be commercial, it can be residential, it can be a probate property, it could be land, it could be a pub. As I say, it could be any of those things. And the closing date isn't until the 29th of August. So like I said, we've still got time. If you want us to come and have a look at a property, give you an auction appraisal, do get in touch, and one of the negotiators will come out and have a look at the property and take it from there.
Very well said indeed. I'm sure for those properties over in Battle, there'll be a big fight at auction for that. I've been waiting to say that for the past 3 minutes, Paul.
Just shut up, Paul. Shut up. I've got a joke on it.
The joke's gone now, isn't it? And there's another tumbleweed just making its way to Great Yarmouth. You'll see it in a minute.
There it goes.
There it goes. There it goes. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. Chris, thank you for stepping in there as well. Really appreciate it. Paul, lovely to see you again as always. Just before we do go, and if you are new to auction, or maybe you've got a bit of experience, but just want to remind yourself of the process. Paul Bridgman does have his 5 golden rules of bidding. So if you are looking at that September auction with a little bit of interest, sit back, relax, and watch Paul Bridgman's 5 golden rules of bidding. Gentlemen, thank you very much, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Cheers. Thanks, Chris. Thanks, Ian. See you soon. Bye.
Hello, my name's Paul from Clive Emson Land and Property Auctioneers. We're often asked what are our tips for buying property at auction. So these are our 5 golden rules that you should follow if you're looking to buy a property at auction from ourselves or anybody else. First thing, obviously have a look at the website, the auction catalogue, and find all the information on the properties that you're interested in. So download as much information as you can, read up on it, look at the areas, etc. Next thing to look at is the legal documents. request a copy of the legal documents for the properties that you're interested in, you'll be able to see the title, the information on lease information, searches, etc., etc., and get your own legal advice on this information. The information is there, nothing should be hidden, it should be the most open and transparent way of buying property, but say all the information is there for you to take to your solicitor and get your own legal advice on. Obviously, go and view the property as well. You need to inspect the property. Take with you someone that you trust. Get their opinion if needs be, and get an idea as to what state the property's in, what work you need to do, and really sort of build a picture for yourself as to what you can afford then to do yourself, and get other tradespeople in to do for you. Do you require a survey? If you do, then you're within your rights to get a survey done before the auction. You can arrange that with ourselves, get the surveyor to contact us, we can arrange access for them. That may be for your own personal use, your own peace of mind. It may be for lending criteria as well. So you can get mortgage funding, so they can arrange a survey with ourselves, and so we can allow them access to do that. Know the costs is another very important point. You need to not only know what it's going to cost you to buy the property. Of course, yes, you need to know what you're going to be spending on it and know you've got the funds available for that. But what's it going to cost you to do the property up? What are the service charges? What are the council tax implications? All these things build the picture. So it really is up to you to find out all the costs. The other thing is, in the legal pack, look in the special conditions of sale, because quite often there may be costs associated that are passed on to the buyer as well. So look in there and say that none of that information is hidden, it's all there for you to see. So it shouldn't come as a surprise, but let's say make sure you read that information and you'll see it all there laid out for you. But let's say know what you can do yourself when sort of adding up the costs. Can you fit your own bathrooms? Can you fit your own kitchens? All those sort of things. If not, you need to allocate costs for that. And as I say, service charge, ground rent, when you're looking at rental portfolios, when you're looking at obviously renting your own properties out, these things need to be taken into account as well. So once you've done that, you've found the details of the properties you want to buy, you've looked at the legals, you've considered whether you need a survey, you've been through all the costs. Last thing to do is not panic. The bidding goes live a couple of days before the auction finishes. You just need to then log on, register yourself to bid by entering your credit card details, debit card details, your ID information and your solicitor's details, and of course all your own personal information. Once you've got the 3 green ticks, you're ready to bid, and you just need to stay calm, watch it right up to the last. You can sort out proxy bidding as well, but all that information is on the website. And then, as I say, stay calm, bid, and wish you luck. And I hope you then are able to buy what you want. If you have any further questions, please do give the office a ring. We'll be only too pleased to talk you through the process, what you need to do, how to register, and of course if you want to book viewings and download legal packs too. Thanks ever so much. I hope this information's been helpful. Like I say, please do drop us an email, give us a call. We're only too pleased to help. Thank you.
We've sold thousands of lots to people willing to exchange on the day and complete within 28 days. Property auctions made quick, easy and simple. Clive Emson Land and Property Auctioneers.